of the Legislative and Intergovernmental Liaison Office, Infonet, and PSU Digital. We aim at bringing policymakers to meet social media directly and answer questions. So you're welcome to this, and as you can see from the screens, there has been massive questions. We can't even be able to handle all of them. But after this, we are going to ensure that they are all answered and put up on the internet for people to access the answers. To start with, there are questions from people like Kenyan Pundit and several others who have asked, what does a DP do on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I get up around 6:30. 4 days in a week, I do gym for 1 hour. I was at some point 100 kilos. Now I am down to 89. And then after that, I go to the office around 8. Sometimes I start off, I have an office in Karen with several appointments on some committees of cabinet that I chair. Sometimes I do it out of the office here in town. Like I've just come from one with Olelenku and his team on digitizing government and establishing a single source of truth. And then once I'm done with many of those, then hold consultations with different leaders on constituency and county programs. Occasionally discuss matters concerning the various aspects of ministries. In many instances, the president assigns me certain responsibilities to deal with certain aspects of government, bring government departments together, and sort out maybe emerging issues. That takes me sometimes all the way to 7:30, 8, sometimes 9:30. Then I get out of here and go home.
Good. Then the next question comes from a gentleman calling himself Politics KE, and he asks, what happened to bringing down price of 2 kg packet of unga from shillings 120 to 60 shillings?
That's on course, and that's a very important component of our strategy. We are doing 3 things. To be able to bring down the price of unga, the single critical component is to expand production. There is no other magic required. There is no other miracle required. You just need to enhance supply, because price is a factor of supply and demand. And so to enhance supply, we need to expand production. What are we doing as Jubilee to expand production? Let me list 3 things that we are doing. Number 1, it is important to assist farmers to lower the cost of production. If you lower the cost of production, many farmers can grow more area under food products. So we have to reduce the cost of production. We've reduced the cost of fertilizer from 3,000 shillings to 2,000. We've reduced the cost of top dressing fertilizer from 2,500 to 1,500. That has already been done. And this year, we imported 150,000 metric tons of fertilizer into the country. The government has also used 1.5 billion shillings to subsidize the cost of seed around the country. That is step number 1. What will that achieve? This year, we believe that we are going to enhance our production because we've made it easier for farmers to produce. Number 2, we are expanding our irrigation program. We have irrigation programs, small irrigation programs around the country, and we have our mega 1 million signature program in Galana and Kulalu. That has already been launched. The first 10,000 acres of what we are calling the model farm is underway. 100,000 acres will be put under production next year. Progressively, by the 5th year, we will have the whole 1 million acres under production. What will that do? We will double by the 3rd year, we will double the quantity, we will double the production of food products. We will specifically double the production of maize. And when we double the production of maize, what will happen is that the prices will come down. So we are on course on making sure that we reduce the cost of living and making sure that Kenyans can have access to cheap food.
Oh, well, Ras Georges on Twitter is asking, there is a lot of bribing going on at Kasarani where the vetting for illegal immigrants is going on. And should the government of Kenya be profiling ethnic groups as security strategy? Yet we have NIS that can facilitate a more intelligent approach.
Let me tell Ras Georges that what is going on in Kasarani. One, what we have done with Kasarani, because of the numbers, these people could not fit in any police station. We are talking of more than 1,000 people. So Kasarani has been gazetted as a police station, temporary police station. So what is going on in Kasarani is what would normally go on in a police station. The security situation in the country, every Kenyan appreciates that we have a serious security situation in the country, and we are addressing ourselves to it. Let me take him back a bit. Last year, we had serious challenges in Bungoma with security. We managed to sort that out. We had serious security challenges in Tana River. We have sorted that out. We had serious challenges in Mojia and Mandera. We have sorted that out. Not to mention Moyale. We've sorted that out. And what we are doing now, we are addressing ourselves to the serious challenge of terrorism. And this is a compounded problem because there is radicalization of young people going on. That is a challenge that we have to deal with. We have terrorism being a global phenomenon. And many of the terrorist attacks have been around Isli, many parts of northern Kenya, and Mombasa. That is why we are focusing on these areas. And it is important for us as a country to make sure that we do not leave any stone unturned until we get to the bottom of these terrorist activities. I want to assure Georges, that we will do this within the parameters of the law. We have clear instructions that have been issued by the minister who is sitting here, that all the profiling that is going on is not about religion, is not about tribe, it's not about people who are legitimately Kenyan. And as a result of the profiling that has gone on, yesterday we have put 82 people on the plane to go back to their country. They were in Kenya illegally. We will continue to do that until anybody who is not legitimately in our country goes back to their home. What is wrong with taking somebody back to their home? It's only reasonable. And I think people should leave us in peace. And especially if they come here and abuse our generosity. It is not right. And I think we have, in my estimation, the support of Kenyans to make sure that every Kenyan is safe, their property, their children, their investment is safe. And that is what we are doing.
Well, just related to that, Mass Group Kenya is tweeting and asking, why are you making Safaricom Stadium into an internment camp? I'm sure you've handled it a bit, but probably you want to talk to Mass Group Kenya.
I want to tell Mass Group Kenya that we are a responsible, democratically elected government. We will not do anything in the direction of violating the Constitution, or violating the law, or violating the rights of Kenyans. I think asking somebody to bring their identification documents to tell us who they are, and if they are in Kenya and they are not Kenyans, why are they here? What documentation do they have? I think those are honest, simple, straightforward questions, and nothing of the sort that Mass Kenya is alleging has happened in Kasarani.
Pithon has a related question on security, the broader issue of security.
Yes.
And how far have you gone in achieving the promises of Jubilee on the issue of security? And specifically, are you planning any increase on police salaries anytime soon?
Pithon.
Yes.
How is that spelled?
Pithon, not like the snake. But
I was wondering. Okay, let me tell Pithon that we take matters security very seriously. And in fact, if you have heard the president speak, we have had underinvestment in our security sector for the last 15 years. It's just in the last budget that we decided to get out of the box and fund security in a different way. For a very long time, Kenyans did not get value for money. Whenever the money that we invested in our security sector was simply eaten or stolen. We decided that this year, Kenyans must get value for money. That is why, what are we doing to change or improve the quality of security or the security sector in our country? Let me mention 3 things. Number 1, we want to upgrade our equipment, starting with police vehicles, police equipment. Already we have rolled out the first 1,200 vehicles. There is another budget for 600 vehicles this year. There is an additional 2,000 vehicles for provincial administration, who also double up as members of the security teams. We want to make sure that the response time is improved, and we have made sure that the old problem where we had vehicles without fuel is a foregone conclusion. For every vehicle that we provide, there is a budget for fuel for that vehicle. That is already done this year. Number 2, we want to improve the kitting of our policemen and women. We want our policemen and women to have modern equipment, modern guns, good body armor, make sure that they have good communication equipment. For just the record, we are operating an analog system for police communication. And we tried to buy one. There was a contract that was there last year, and it went bonkers because many people wanted to rob from it, and we refused. We canceled the contract because we want to get value for money. We have also enhanced response time. If you dial today 999, you will get an immediate response, and you can report incidences of crime. We want beginning of this financial year, which is in 2 months' time, every policeman will have an insurance scheme behind them, so that even as they protect us, they too have a fallback position, that in the event that they are hurt in the course of duty, or they lose their lives in the course of duty, their families, their dependents have access to an insurance scheme that can look after them. That will boost the morale of our officers, so that they know that there is a government standing behind them. They have modern equipment. They have modern transport equipment. That is what we are doing. And believe me, this security situation is turning round the corner, and this country is going to be safe. We have equally brought on board in this year's budget, we are going to buy additional anti-missile vehicles. We want to tackle the problem of cattle rustling, and we are buying additional helicopters that have the capacity to deal with cattle rustlers in terms of response time. We have told cattle rustlers that their time is up. We are purchasing the necessary equipment, and we are going to make sure that children in cattle rustling areas go to school, and that there will be no cattle rustling. We want to bring the security of our country under control. And I want to tell my friend Pithon that that we are on course.
Well, part of the
Sorry.
feedback every time on security, and this is not from the questions, has been every time we have spoken about comprehensive insurance, we've spoken about a housing scheme for policemen. The feedback, actually, even from some policemen, has been salaries. So maybe you'd want to tackle that directly.
What we did, in fact, this is one assignment the president gave me to put together all the security agencies from the police, treasury, and all the people involved. And that is how we came up with the issues of police housing. That's how we came up with the police insurance scheme. That's how we came up with all this retooling and rekitting all our policemen. We have, in this year's budget, we had Ransley, I think, the salaries, you know, how the packages of police were agreed by an independent commission. We have managed to meet 90% of what was promised or what was recommended by that commission. And we said progressively we will make sure that whatever is outstanding we are going to clear going forward, because we have huge budgetary requirements for us to do that. We did the award that was given that was outstanding. We have already paid in the last, I think, in the last 6 months, we paid the backlog that was required of us. And whatever outstanding, we are going to look at it within the parameters of the provisions of the budget that we have.
Masharia or Mugo asks, what other concrete measures are you taking to address the poaching menace?
Thank you, Mr. Mugo. In the next 2 months, we are going to hire an additional 600 men and women to look after our wildlife. We are bringing in a new intelligence unit to assist in making sure that the response time and whatever operations that go on in our in our national and game reserves is intelligence led. We are recommending and we are transferring officers that would help in making sure that we have a robust intelligence team at the NYS. We now have a new law that gives us a new structure. The law was passed 2 months ago that now gives us a robust environment on how to tackle poaching. But let me also say this. I think it is important for us to be candid on what is going on. Yes, we have lost about 14 rhinos in Kenya. South Africa have lost 141 rhinos in the same period. I am not in any way trying to say 14 rhinos are few. But I'm saying if you compare the problem of poaching, especially of rhinos, it is like terrorism. It is happening the world over. But in fact, out of the 14 that have been killed, only 2 have been killed in national parks that we are responsible as government. The others have been killed in conservancies that we don't look after. But what we are saying is, all the same, we need to up our game to make sure that we have enough men and we have the correct strategy to tackle the menace of poaching around the country.
Okay, we'll take one more, then we'll take a break so that we can see whether you know how to use your Twitter account so that you can be able to tweet. So we'll take one more from Oliver Mathenge, who is asking, why isn't the government giving timelines of the promises that you and the president have been making?
We have 5 years to deliver on this. Yeah, we have a mandate for 5 years from Kenyans. And they have that all-powerful instrument called the vote. If we don't deliver on our mandate, and it is very clear to us, and we are listening. And I am happy that Kenyans are on our backs with pressure that you guys must deliver. It means they believe that we can deliver. And it is a very encouraging thing to see. Whenever I see people saying there is huge expectation from the people of Kenya, that maybe we overstated what we should have said. I want to tell them we did not overstate. We have every intention of delivering on every promise that we made.
Okay, maybe we can get His Excellency Deputy President assisted with an iPad so that he can send a tweet from his
Or you can
account
bring
that
my
he wants
phone.
to-
Sorry, I didn't come with my phone.
Yeah, someone can bring in the phone as we go on with the questions. You
I
can
have,
take a
I
little
have
two
my
more,
Twitter
then you
account
can
on my phone.
Yes, they can bring up the phone, then you can be able to
Somebody
tweet from
get me my phone from my desk.
Okay, we can then, as you wait for that, then we can continue with a few more. We'll take some from the screen. Kenyan analyst is asking, have hustlers been forgotten by the chief hustler?
Not at all. In fact, I have been asked severally this question, and this is a very important question about people who hustle, people who are sufferers, people who need help. And what is our strategy about employment? Let me explain. You see, to be able to create jobs, you need to expand the economy. To be able to expand the economy, you need to do several things. Why are we passionate about the railway? We are passionate about the railway because it's going to reduce the cost of transport by 60%. If we reduce the cost of transport by 60%, we improve the competitiveness of our industry. That whatever they manufacture, whether it is the raw materials they bring in or the finished products they carry out, the transport is reduced. That means the end product is cheaper if the transport network is good. Why are we passionate about, and I said yesterday, our strategy is to have 10,000 kilometers of tarmac road in the next 5 years. That is ambitious, but it is doable. We have done 14,000 kilometers of road in the last 50 years. 14,000 kilometers of road, of tarmac. We want to do 10,000 kilometers of tarmac in the next 5 years. That somebody may think, are these guys serious? We are serious, and it is doable, and we have a plan. And Kenyans watch this space. Because if we have our farmers, our industry, if they have access to good roads, it means they can do more, and their products will be much more competitive in the market. Why are we passionate about energy? Why are we saying we have 1,600 megawatts of energy of electricity on our grid, and we are proposing that we want to generate 5,000, 3 times what we have generated in 50 years, we want to generate in 40 months. Because the cost of energy is the single important component for industry. Many industries have relocated from Kenya to our competing destinations in Egypt or South Africa on one account of expensive energy. So when the president and I met the private sector, the first group of Kenyans we met immediately the elections were declared was the KEPSA. And they told us, gentlemen, if you reduce the cost of energy from 18 US cents to 10, we will generate the jobs. And that is our mission. That is why we have set out for ourselves that in the next 40 months, we must produce 5,000 megawatts of energy, and we are producing from sources that are cheaper than the current sources. We are producing from geothermal, from gas, from coal, and from the other sources of wind and solar. And in the next 40 months, we believe that we should have reduced the cost of energy from 18 US cents to 10 US cents. That way, we can attract industry. That way, our industries that exist today in Kenya will not be spending 40% of their budget on paying for electricity. It will come down to 20%. And therefore, they can transfer some of those benefits to the consumer. Our goods will be cheaper. We can then expand the economy. More industry will relocate to Kenya, and we will get more young people employed in that sector. Thirdly, we are looking at value addition. And that's why we have a huge debate with with Europe. Europe are selling us finished products. They want us to sell them raw material. We're telling them no. We want to do value addition. And that is why this year we have targeted 3 areas. We have targeted cotton value chain, leather value chain, as a means of stimulating our agricultural sector. That we want to do value addition from the growing of cotton, and we are changing the law so that we can have biotech cotton seed, which we can plant, which is more resistant to disease, and we can have higher yields, and progress the whole of that to textile industry. There is absolutely no reason why all our uniformed officers continue to import their uniform from Malaysia or Indonesia. They can be manufactured down here. All the leather industry, the good shoes these people are wearing around here, we can manufacture at home. Safari boot is a very popular, piece of clothing that can be done here.
Do you own one?
Yeah, I own some. So I want to tell Kenyans, this is the time to transform our country. We have the strategy and we have the plan, and we're going to do it. We need their support.
Related to that, Chipukizi is asking, huyu safara alituacha, siku hizi hata hakuna M-Pesa, yeye upigia watu simu. So what we will do towards that, David, you can prepare for me Chipukizi's number. What we'll do on that, we'll have you tweet. You can send a tweet of your own choice right now. Then you will use hashtag GOK interacts as it is on the screen.
And I need somebody send me today on my WhatsApp.
WhatsApp?
Yeah. This is, and I send it to the president. He said,
yes.
There's somebody calling. Sorry.
No problem.
So this is what he says. Let me just get it here. Yeah.
Yes.
Can you read it? This is you can read the person I have sent to there is.
Yeah, future president one.
Yeah, so can you read the last?
Yeah, VP Hustler. Nimetext unye but harespond. Manze ni sort na kadhao moja, ninafungiwa nyumba. Nitarudisha tukilipwa. And you are saying you sent that to the president?
So when I was driving to the office,
yeah,
this fellow sent me this. The way you read it.
Yes, I can see you then sent it to the president.
Yeah, I sent it to the president. Why is it? Because he says, nimetext unye, and you know unye who it is.
Yes.
So I was telling him, my friend, why are you letting down this guy? He has. But anyway, let me. Okay. So I send. I've already.
It's already sent. No problem. Okay. Good. Maybe now then we can kindly call this number.
Which number is this? Sorry.
0713.
Zero.
You've forgotten Safras. Just have a conversation. Maybe you can invite him for tea.
You know, we were trying to reach you in the morning.
Iko mambo gani?
We were trying to talk about the Twitter conversation that we wanted to have. But now, you see, this is my personal line. Maybe I can, because tulikuwa tunafanya show ilikuwa inaisha 10. Because you know, people are asking, what is it all about?
Ati?
No, watu walikuwa wanauliza deputy president ni ukweli kweli ata engage watu kwa social media. So now we wanted to get a word from you.
Okay, when nani useme jina yako? Mimi naitwa William Ruto, na wewe?
Mimi naitwa Chipukizi from Kiss 100.
Chipukizi, habari bwana.
Sana bwana.
Haya, sasa wewe hiyo mambo ungetaka wewe kuja ofisini. Wewe kuja ofisini.
Kuja ofisini.
Tukunywe chai ndio tukubaliane hiyo story unasema.
Okay, sawa mheshimiwa.
Sawa. Thank you. God bless.
Good. We will then get to, there is a gentleman called Cold Tusker, who is asking why destroy the CBK by interfering with its independence through the creation of another. That tweet is not complete, but basically the CBK, is there anything that is just strengthening the institution?
Unless, I don't know what maybe he's saying, anaitwa nani huyu mungwana?
Cold Tusker.
Cold Tusker. Yeah. Sasa, unless maybe he is referring to, I don't know, maybe the only thing that we have with the issues to do with the CBK is issues of interest rates, which the debate we have raised as government, and we have asked a very simple and straightforward question. I mean, if banks are charging 2% or they pay 2% to people who deposit their money, and they only lend the same money at 20% interest, it is not right. And you see, access to credit is going to be a major component of us being able to grow the economy. Many young people have no access. Many women have no access to credit. Why we are doing Uwezo Fund is because of that realization. We want many young people to engage in business, but they have a limitation when it comes to access to credit. And we are saying, unless we have credit that is affordable, you cannot do business. That's why we are proposing, we have a debate that is going on, a conversation in government and with the banks and with the private sector, where we are saying, where is the problem? Because in Nigeria, the spread is 5. In India, the spread is 3. That the spread being between the lending and the borrowing, the deposit and the lending, right, is 3%. In Kenya, it is 11 or 12. Why? That is the debate we are asking. And we are asking our banks, surely. I mean, we need to have a conversation as Kenya. And from the day we began that debate about 4 months ago, interestingly, the rates have come down. Just by having the debate, the rates have come down from 24, now it's around 14. And that's why I was saying yesterday, we will see a single-digit regime, interest rate regime, in the next 1 year. Because we are doing several things apart from the debate. Number one, we want to get government to get out of borrowing locally. And we can give instructions to central bank that if we are borrowing as government, let us go and borrow in a different market. That is why we have the Euro bond, for example. We have floated a $1.5 billion Euro bond, which means we will get money at 5%, but not from our local market. That, in essence, will mean that we will not be crowding out the private sector, the corporate entities, the small and medium-sized enterprises from accessing credit from local banks. That's number one. And that we have already told Henry Rotich and his team that we must look outside. We must have alternative sources of looking for credit, number one. Number two, we are looking for ways of enhancing our national saving, because you borrow money that has been saved by somebody. The challenge that we have as a country is our national saving rate is around 10 or 12%. Modern economies have a national saving rate of between 30 and 40%. And that is why we changed the NSSF from a provident fund to a pension scheme. And we have enhanced contribution to NSSF from what it was to now 6% of salary and 6% of by the employer. We will probably raise about between 10 and 12 billion shillings every month from that enterprise. And that money can actually be used deposited in institutions or banks, and then it can be used and borrowed for national development, so that we have a bigger pool of money to borrow from. And this is how we are going to develop. This is how we are going to develop the country. High interest rates hurt the growth of the economy. We want to lower interest rates so that even citizens, persons earning 50,000, 40,000 can actually pay a mortgage of a flat, which mortgage then will be able to come down to about 20,000, 30,000. That way, we want to encourage more Kenyans to own property. And we have said our economy can support 1 million mortgages. It currently only supports, we have only 20,000 mortgages. That means most of Kenyans working pay rent, they don't pay mortgage. We want to change so that more Kenyans, if you are paying 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 for rent, you can actually pay a mortgage, so that 15 years down the road, you own that house or that flat. That is the way we should go. And that will only happen if we bring down interest rates and make sure that the cost of building property is reasonable, because most of these properties are built using borrowed money. That is where we are driving the country. And this conversation must continue. We must engage in this conversation. We are not saying we have the answers, but we are saying we have the ideas on where this need to go. Let us contribute those in the conversation, and let us arrive at a place where we can say, yes, this is right for all of us.
Nganga asks, is Mwagid on Twitter. He asks, laptops, why are you insisting on a project of 1 laptop per child that keeps failing instead of considering school labs?
Nganga, I want to tell Nganga that in our manifesto, if he looks at our manifesto, the whole program of digitizing the country included the laptops and included the computer labs. The project on computer labs is underway, though we scaled it down a bit because we wanted to concentrate more on the laptop, so that the computer labs can come later. We are not insisting. It is the nature of the law. If you have a tendering process that is provided for by the law, and you must respect the law, what we have done is we've rolled out this program. Unfortunately, it has been caught up with issues of competitive procuring process, which has delayed it. The matter has been taken to court. Competition between bidders, which is normal. It is natural, when people compete, and there is a provision for an adjudication process that includes PPOA, that includes the courts. You can't jettison, or you can't exit without consequences. So that's why we are allowing that process to go on. But our commitment to digitizing the country, I just told you, I came from a meeting with Ole Lenku, who is sitting here, on digitizing government, getting a single source of truth. We want across the board to make sure that at the touch of the button, we can know what Ole Itumbi, this Itumbi fellow, whether what is his family tree, what is he, where is he, and that's a very important documentation process.
We have members of the media here. In future, when we have Honorable Elenku here, we will ask them to tweet from their media houses and not to ask analog questions from here. But for today, we'll give them a chance to ask the direct questions. So
why don't they send the tweeters to this board here? I can read.
But because the people running the bits are in the office, we also appreciate Orange for giving us internet, and we appreciate Capital FM because they're running this thing live on a live stream on capitalfm.co.ke. So we'll ask the media houses then to float the questions.
Okay.
Any questions? Yes, Sheila. can say your name and your media house and throw the question.
My name is Sheila Sendeo, or at Sheila Sendeo, and my question goes to at William S. Ruto. And it's pretty simple. How has it been for you having to shuttle to The Hague and back and still manage the country the last 1 year?
Well, are you a blogger? I was told this was going to be a meeting of bloggers.
No, I work with NTV.
Wonderful. Okay, of course I've been to The Hague a couple of times, spent there maybe cumulatively about 40 days. Of course, you know, I would love to be back here at home doing what Kenyans have elected me to do, and which I enjoy doing, because I think it's a contribution that I can make towards making Kenya better and taking this country to the next level. But as a person also who equally believes in the rule of law, I chose that I will answer to the allegations that have been made about me. And my lawyers are doing a good job, wonderful job if you may, because progressively it is beginning to be clear to all and sundry that the allegations that were made against me and the president are allegations that are false, that have no basis, and that what they've managed to achieve is simply to waste our time.
Momo.
My name is Michael, Capital FM. Sasa hujatuambia kama ulisoti hiyo jamaa na hiyo thao. And then secondly, is the provision of laptops for primary schools still a priority despite the hurdles that we have before the courts?
It was a priority, it still remains a priority, and of course we keep our options also open, because we have the whole computer labs initiative also that is on the side, and progressively we are beginning to push all the items together, but the computer labs and the laptop projects are still quite a priority for the Jubilee administration. Na huyo jamaa nimemsendia boss nini hiyo SMS amsotu hiyo jamaa na hiyo thao.
Okay, one more question from the media houses here.
Mheshimiwa Naibu Rais, naitwa Joseph Njane kutoka Milele FM. Nitauliza swali langu kwa Kiswahili kwa sababu ya yule hasla kule.
Haya, sawa.
Na swali langu kwanza kabisa ni mojawapo ya ahadi ambazo mliweza kutoa kwamba mtatathmini kuweza kutoa maziwa ya bure kwa wanafunzi wa shule za msingi. Sijui wapo mpango huo ungalipo. Alafu swali la pili, kuna hili swala la serikali ya Jubilee. Je, unahisi kwamba kuna ule mshikamano miongoni mwa wale viongozi, ikizingatiwa kwamba kwa sasa kuna yule mmoja wa wanachama wa chama chako cha URP, Aden Duale, kiongozi wa wengi, ni kwamba amekuwa kilengwa na baadhi ya wabunge. Unaweza sema serikali ya Jubilee iko vipi kwa sasa? Ni hayo tu.
Asante sana. Wacha nianze na hiyo ya mwisho. Jubilee, rais na mimi tulikubaliana ya kwamba Jubilee hii tutaiendesha kama unit moja. Hatutaki kasumba ya zamani ile ya nusu hii na nusu ile. Tulikubaliana mbele ya kwamba Jubilee tutaiendesha kama chama kimoja. Kuna vyama tanzu, lakini tutaiendesha kama chama kimoja. Na hata ukiangalia katika mipango yetu yote, hata kwa wale mawaziri, wale permanent ama principal secretaries, all the appointments zile zimefanyika. Hauwezi kuambiwa huyu ni wa URP, huyu ni wa TNA, kwa sababu tulikubaliana ya kwamba changamoto za taifa letu la Kenya ni nyingi. Hatutaki kuingiza changamoto ya kisiasa katika mambo haya. Tunataka kutatua mambo ya kuhakikisha kwamba kuna chakula, tufanye mambo ya usalama, tufanye mambo ya kuzalisha uchumi. Haya ndio mambo ambayo tunataka kukabiliana nayo. Hatutaki shida za kisiasa. Kwa yale mambo ambayo yanaendelea, haya ni mambo madogo ya kisiasa, na tunaamini na tunajua ya kwamba yale yanaendelea ni mambo ambayo tutayamaliza kwa kiwango hicho. Ni maoni ya watu tofauti tofauti, lakini tumesema kama serikali kile kinachoendelea sasa hailengi dini, hailengi kabila, hailengi rangi ya mtu. Tunalenga wale magaidi ambao wanaleta maafa katika taifa letu, na hiyo tutazidi na kwenda mbele, na tuko na support ya kila Mkenya na kila mbunge. Hata yule Bwana Duale anaungana na sisi na wabunge wote kwamba lazima tupigane vita na ugaidi. Kwa mambo ya maziwa, tulisema maziwa ya Nyayo. Mbona mnatuwekelea maneno ambayo hatukusema? Baadhi ya mambo ambayo yako katika ruwaza yetu ama manifesto yetu tunayachunguza, na tutaona vile tutayashughulikia tukienda mbele.
I think anyone else with like one more allowance for media houses, because we're almost winding up. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Joy Chalagat. I come from Standard Digital. Now, yesterday, Cord was seen in the media saying that the Jubilee government is undermining devolution, and they're saying that they will continue to champion devolution and things like that. So what do you have to say about the allegation that your government is undermining devolution?
There is a world of a difference between, Chalagat, there is a world of a difference between talk and action. We choose to be measured by what we do, not what is said. And let me tell you, what have we done? Forget about what has been said. What have we done as Jubilee? We have facilitated the transfer of all the functions as required by the Constitution. An exercise that was supposed to take 3 years, we have facilitated the transfer within the first 1 year. That is action. That is in support of devolution. Many people did not believe that that was the right thing to do. We believe then and now that it is the right thing to do. Number two, we made sure that there is funding for devolution. The Constitution allowed us 15% or recommended 15%. The first year, we went for 32%. That is commitment, not in word, in deed, to devolution. Number three, you have seen the Cabinet Secretary for Finance every month publishing the monies that have been given to counties. And in each and every publication that has been made by the Cabinet Secretary, there is in excess of between 40 and 50 billion every month money waiting for devolved governments. We wait for money to do we wait for money to do our projects. Money waits for devolved governments to do their projects. That is commitment. We provide for money for devolved governments before we provide for money for our own development. Number four, this year, despite the challenges that county governments have had in terms of spending, many people tried to persuade us that there is no need to add more money to devolved governments because they are unable to spend what they have. But what did we choose? We believe in devolution. We enhanced the allocation to county governments, and that enhancement is by the national government from 190 billion to 226 billion. What then does that reflect? If you, as a percentage of audited and approved accounts, We are at 43%. Our manifesto says 40%. We are at 43%. That shows commitment, not in word, in deed. That is how we believe in Jubilee, that we have done what no other government would do to devolution. What you hear people talking out there is because we have been equally firm on matters of accountability. And you've heard people complain here and there, and many of the voices that you hear arguing with us are people who don't want to be accountable. And I would ask them, can they look Kenyans in the eye and say they are not ready to be accountable? All of us must be accountable. All of us must be accountable, from the president down to the messenger. All of us. And I have said, and I will repeat it here, I said it last night, no official, elected or appointed, is too senior, too important, or too powerful to be accountable. In fact, the more power you think you have, the higher the accountability that you must measure up to. And that is as simple as that. And so we are very clear, when we are devolving resources to the grassroots, we are not devolving resources to the grassroots for people to go and spend in things that are not part of what Kenyans envisaged during when they made the constitution. We are devolving resources because we want equitable development around the country. We want to make sure that priorities are pegged on locally developed initiatives, and we want to make sure that there is accountability. And there is no place that you can say, I'm going to be accountable here, I'm not going to be accountable here. We as national government, we must be held to account, and we will answer every question that we are asked. So does every other executive, whether in the county government, whether in our parastatals, whether in our government institutions, each one of us must be accountable.
Good, we'll go here for the last two questions. One is coming from Cyril Ojo. He asks, he says, I admire you. You have a clear take on issues, but why neglect Nyanza? Is there a plan?
How does he arrive at that? How has he arrived at we have neglected Nyanza? For the record, the president is due to launch a road that we are constructing from Kisumu through Kakamega to Webuye to Kitale. A good section of that road is in Nyanza. I was personally in Kisumu on Sunday. We are very clear that Nyanza is Kenya. And every government program, whether we are talking about Uwezo, whether we are talking about our road network that we are working on, whether we are talking about the electrification program that we have around the country, must be made available to every Kenyan, those who voted for us and those who did not vote for us. Every Kenyan of every race and color and creed and community. That is our plan. So I want to tell my friend that Nyanza is at the heart of our planning.
Martin Gitao asks, where are the jobs for artisans and carpenters? Is there any plan to further include them? And where are the technical institutions in every constituency?
Wonderful, wonderful. That's a good question. If he had, I was in Kenya Technical Training College down here in Nairobi. This year, we have rolled out the construction of 8 technical institutes using government money. In our next budget, and working with development partners, we want to roll out 135 technical institutes in the country. By the 3rd year, there will be a technical institute in every constituency of our country, because we believe that artisans, masons, electricians, plumbers are important to the development of our country. As we look at the holistic approach for our development blueprint, we must have the skills to be able to implement our Vision 2030. We need those skills and competencies. And in fact, what we have done this year, we've also said that the loans board, the higher education loans board, must not only give money to people going to university. We've now expanded it to include students who are going to technical institutes, and I hope they are listening to me. They can now apply for loans under the Higher Education Loans Board. We have made provisions for money because we believe students who are going to technical institutes are important. They are an important and an integral part to enhancing our capacity and level of personnel to service a modern economy. That is the expansion that we are including.
Before we let you go, we'll let know about a little bit about you. So which football team do you support?
I support Arsenal.
But you are losing.
But the problem is, I don't know where we are at the moment.
Okay,
I don't know how well. I don't know. Do we have Arsenal fans here? How are we doing?
All right, then we see you in church a lot, and we know you stand on the Christian faith. What's your favorite Bible verse?
My favorite Bible verse is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Favorite music?
I have it on my, I have Tanzanian, very good Tanzanian gentleman called Solomon Mkubwa. I am a fan of his music.
Perfect.
He's a bit disabled, but he's a wonderful guy.
Perfect. Let me borrow a question from my sister Jacqueline Maribe. What is your favorite meal?
I share a favorite meal with my friend, the president, Nyama Choma and Ugali.
Well, good. Before you leave, I will explain to you something. We've developed a mobile app that is called Sauti Yetu. What it does, you're able to SMS to this mobile app and get whatever is happening to you. For instance, complaints unedited. So no, you don't have a middleman. It is not only a mobile app that comes to and you can also look on it in terms of location.
I've seen this in almost 12 years. The building not yet completed. And
by category, as you can see, you can also be put through the location. So you can actually go up to your home area and find out whether complaints are coming from there. So if you just say that you have now launched that app, then you're going to start publicizing it.
Wonderful. I think it is a good thing, ladies and gentlemen, with the amendment we have proposed.
Yeah, with the amendment proposed.
You agree that we do a small amendment?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
As many as of that opinion say aye. I will not say contrary because you might have some people you might lose. Yes. Okay, so with this Sauti Yetu.
Yes,
Sauti Yetu.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I recommend that we launch.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to do that. So finally, maybe you're going to take a photo from your phone with the whole of this crowd, with you standing there. Then you can take one. Then you can tweet for us as you go downstairs, and we release you.
Okay. Where's my phone?
A good selfie. There's one who has been crowned the owner of selfies, so she can come and you can take it together. So Jackie, maybe come over. You can also join him. No, we want you to take with you on the picture. So you're supposed to be on this side. Okay. So yes. You take the photo, and you're supposed to take the crowd. Come. Make sure if Jack is on that photo, then everyone else is. You can teach him then. Chukua hiyo picha. Kuja, chukua.
Is it Doug?
Yep.
There you go. One more. One more.
And you smile, and you smile. Kuja, chukua.
One more. Good. I think we have enough. Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, having come to that, we come to the end of GOK Interacts today. Your Excellency, we would want you to hand us an officer who will then compile all the other questions you have not been able to answer, so that in 1 week. Okay, so in 1 week, we will send him these questions, and we expect the answers in 1 week so that we can upload on your website and the President's website so that people can get all the answers of the questions they have asked. We'll be able to give you the statistics, but there are more than 1,000 questions. So we'll be able to answer all of them and then be able to upload them.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you,
Asante.
Ole Itumbi, and good luck, everybody. Thank you very much.